Okay. Okay, good evening, everybody. Good to see you all once again. Those of you that I can see, and those of you who I can't, it's good to be together. This is our second Zoom Chizuk session. As we said, we'll be doing these every week for as long as we need to, as long as it takes. And again, the main idea, I think, is just for us all to be together, just to have a chance to see each other, to talk to each other. You know, we're all in it together, and that's really the main message I think that we have out of all of this. I'll say again, I mentioned last week at the end, this week I'll mention at the beginning in case anybody wants to think about it. Now, this isn't just for me to talk, but if anybody on this call wants to share some thoughts, share some reflections, anything at all that they wish, so there'll be a chance for that at the end. So we'll open the floor. Of course, nobody has to if they don't feel comfortable. We'll follow more or less the same format as last week. It's not going to be very long, but we'll begin. We'll say some Teilim together. After that, actually, I want to show you a video, and then we will have a few things to say, a few divrei chizuk, hopefully some words that can, again, as always, uplift and inspire us in these very challenging times. So we'll begin with Teilim. Begin with the two prakim of Teilim. Following that, the Mishaberachs. I'm going to vary it up a little bit tonight. I'm going to say the Tfilah L'Shlom HaMdina as well, which we haven't been saying every time. I think it's important to think about, and Rabbi Wein spoke on Shabbat, how we need to daven for leadership. Hashem should give good counsel to our leaders at this time with the most difficult decisions they have to make. So I think it's pertinent to say that particular Tfilah. So we'll say two Pirkei Teilim. I'll put them up on screen. Everybody is welcome. I would suggest not to unmute yourselves, but everybody is welcome to say the psukim along with me, and then we'll say the Mishaberach. So let's share the screen, and we'll begin the two prakim that we've been saying every day: Kuf Kaf Aleph and Kuf Lamed. Shir Lamalot Esainai Le'alim Ma'ayin Yavo Ezri Ezri Me'im Adonai Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz Al Yiten Lamot Raglecha Al Yanum Shomrecha Hinei Lo Yanum V'Lo Yishan Shomer Yisrael Adonai Shomrecha Adonai Tzilcha Al Yad Yeminecha Yomam Hashemesh Lo Yakeka V'Yareach B'Layla Adonai Yishmocha Mikol Ra Yishmot Nafshecha Adonai Yishmot Tzedcha V'Echa Me'ata Ve'ad Olam. Teilim Kuf Lamed. Shir Hamalot Mima Makim Klaticha Adonai Adonai Shema B'Koli תהיינה אוזניך קשובות לכל תחנוני, אם עוונות תשמור יה, אדוני מי יעמוד, כי עמך סליחה למען תברא. קיוויתי אדוני קיוותה נפשי, ולדברו חרתי, נפשי לאדוני משומרים לבוקר, שומרים לבוקר. יחל ישראל על אדוני, כי אם אדוני החסד והרבה מופדות. והוא יפדה את ישראל מכל עוונותיו. זה משובח לחיילי צה"ל. משובח אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, ויברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל וכוחות הביטחון העומדים על משמר ארצנו וערי אלוהינו. ייתן אדוני את אויבינו הקמים עלינו נגפים לפניהם. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור מכל צרה וצוקה, מכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם, ידבר שונאינו תחתיהם, ויותרים בחטא ישועה ועטרת ניצחון, ויקוים בהם הכתוב, כי אדוני אלוהיכם, ההולך עמכם להילחם לכם באויביכם, להושיע אתכם, ונאמר אמן. שבח לשבויים. משבח אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, יוסף, משה, אהרון, דוד ושלמה, ויברך וישמור וינצור את אחינו בית ישראל השבויים, ועבור שאנו מתפללים בעבורם, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, ישמורם מכל צרה וצוקה, מכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם, יוציאם מחושך וצל מוות, וישיבם מהרה לחיק משפחותיהם, ונאמר אמן. Of course, that all the hostages should have a safe and speedy return home. You may have seen today there was a demonstration in London. And they had outside Parliament Square, they had 30 empty baby carriages representing 30 children and babies who have been taken hostage in the hands of our cruel and barbaric enemy. Mishaberach for all those who've been wounded, ישבח אבותינו ואברהם יצחק ויעקב משה ואהרון דוד ושלמה, יברך וירפא את כל הפצועים מהפיגועים מהמלחמה. קדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, להחלימם, להרפאותם, להחזיקם, להחיותם, ישלח להם מהרה ורפואה שלמה מן השמיים, לכל אבריהם ולכל גדיהם, בתוך שאר חולי ישראל, רפואת הנפש, רפואת הגוף השתה בעגלה בזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. We'll add on, as I said, the Mishaberach now for תפילה לשלום המדינה, for מדינת ישראל and for its leaders. Share that with you. אבינו שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו, ברך את מדינת ישראל ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו, הגן עליה בעברת חסדך, ופרוס עליה סוכת שלומך, ושלח אורך ועמיתך לראשיה, שריה ויועציה, ותקנם בעצה טובה מלפניך, חזק את ידי מגיני ארץ קודשנו, והנחילם אלוהינו ישועה, ועטרת ניצחון תעטרם, ונתת שלום בארץ ושמחת עולם ליושביה, ותכינו כל בית ישראל בפקודנה בכל ארצות פזוריהם, תוליכם מהרה קומיות לציון עירך, ולירושלים משכן שמך. הכתוב בדורת משה עבדיך, אם ינדחך בקצה השמיים, משם יקבצך אדוני אלוהיך, משם יקחך, ויביאך אדוני אלוהיך על הארץ אשר ירשו אבותיך, וירשתה ויטיבך ויברך מאבותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה ליראת שמך, ולשמור את כל דברי תורתך, ושלח לנו מהרה בן דוד משיח צדקך, לפדות מחקקי תשועתך, הופע בעד הגון עזך, כל יושבי תבל ארצך, ויאמר כל אשר נשמע באפו, אדוני אלוהי ישראל המלך, מלכותו בקום השלה, אמן סלע. I think now's a good time to mention as well, the Twoim group that we have, that many of you are already on that group. We have a WhatsApp group, which has already completed Sefer Twoim twice, and nearing the completion of the third time. We're davening, of course, for all our soldiers and for all of Am Yisrael who are affected, but in particular, for the soldiers who have a connection to Beit Knesset HaNasi. We have a list of close to 200 soldiers, and if anybody's not in that group and wishes to join, you can contact me, or you can contact Simcha after this call, and you'll be added to that group. And if you're not in the group, everybody, of course, is welcome to daven, say Tehillim, at whatever opportunity. I thought tonight, by way of Chizuk, I don't normally do this, but I'd like to share a video with you. There's a song that's come out over the last week or two. In fact, there's a number of songs, and this came with a video. It's very moving. And sometimes, especially at times like this, music has a way of expressing things that words cannot. So there's a song which was written by Hanan Ben Ari. You might have heard it. You might have seen it already. We've got you the video, which has got the subtitles as well in English and in Hebrew, so people can follow along. The song is called Moledet, and it's a song which is written. The artist is singing to Eretz Yisrael. Many videos that have come out from the war and over the last couple of weeks. I'm going to play it for you. Afterwards, I have a few things to share, a few things in it which I found particularly moving. So let's see if this works. Hopefully, you'll be able to hear through your speakers as well.
מקווה שאת עוד שומרת רגעים שמחים למזכרת פעם אנשים עוד כתבו לך כאן שירים על מחברת זוכרת היפהפייה נרדמת עד מתי תהי מדממת ברחובות כולם אין חלון ואין סולם אין גם דלת או שלט אז שר לך שיר ישן שיר ישן שיר ישן נשאר לך נאמן נאמן לעולם לעולם הנביאים חזו לך אחרת מישהו נרדם במשמרת איפה החלום אין אמת ואין שלום אין גם צדק רק צדק אז שר לך שיר ישן, שיר ישן, שיר ישן נשאר לך נאמן, נאמן לעולם, לעולם, לעולם לא נשבר, בשלום ובצר, במתוק ובמר, רק איתך אני שר.
No worries, Senator Biden. We have no place else to go.
רק איתך אני שר. את היחידה מיוחדת, לעולם תהיי לי מולדת, גם על סף תהום, גם בתוך הגיהנום, את גן עדן, גן עדן.
תשכח ימיני, תדבק לשוני לחיקי, אם לא אזכרכי, אם לא אעלה את ירושלים, על ראש שמחתי.
Okay, so I hope you're all able to see that and to hear that. That's a song that's come out, and I think really you see the videos, you see through the words and through what we saw there, it really captures the emotions, captures the mix of emotions that I think all of us have been feeling over the last couple of weeks. There's one line in particular in that song which really touched me. I mean, the whole thing really moved me when I heard it. But the words at the end, particularly where he says, Gam al saf tehom, gam betoch hagehinom, at Gan Eden. Even at the edge of the abyss, even in Gehinom, that has been experienced here 2 weeks ago and since, nonetheless at Gan Eden. This is Gan Eden. This is where we are. This is where we want to be, and there's nowhere else. And I think that really captures the mix, the conflict of emotions that we're all living through. And that's something I want to talk about just for a few minutes. Living with conflicting emotions has always been the Jewish way. It's always been part of life in this country. It's always been part of life of Am Yisrael. We think throughout the year, we think throughout the different things that we do. Maybe a very, very stark example of this in modern times is we all remember the transition going from Yom HaZikaron to Yom HaTzmaut, but it's there throughout the year. It's there throughout our lives. We think about the Chagim, and when you have Hallel on the one hand, you have Yizkor on the other. These different emotions that we live with, and we struggle and try and reconcile them and try and resolve them together. The pasuk in Tehillim says "V'gilu bir'ada," that we should rejoice in trembling. Everybody asks the question: what does that mean? Is it rejoice or is it trembling? Is it one or the other? Surely they can't come together. This is something we spoke about recently. The Yamim Noraim, this year it feels as if the Yamim Noraim did not end. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, we're still there. We're still in that period. We're saying Avinu Malkeinu at the moment in Shul every day. There's a sense that these days have been extended and they've been prolonged. And this is where we feel it very starkly. We've discussed going back a few weeks. How is it? On the one hand, we have these days of Simcha. We have days of Yamim Tovim. On the other hand, we have days of fear, days of judgment. Perhaps again, another place in Tehillim that expresses this very well is Mizmor Kaf Zayin. We spoke about one of the days between Mencha Marav and Shul, that if you look in that perek, again, we're saying lots of Tehillim at the moment, to say the Tehillim, to feel the rhythm, feel the mood of the perek as we say it. So in Mizmor Kaf Zayin, the David Hashem Ori V'Ish'i, that Mizmor really goes through this whole gamut of emotions. It begins with absolute confidence, with absolute certainty. Mimi ira, mimi efchad, I won't be scared, I won't be afraid. I trust in Hashem. After that, it goes on to a bakasha, to a request. Achat sha'alti me'et Hashem. After that, it moves on almost to a sense of desperation, of plea. Shema koli Hashem ekra, right? Hear my voice as I call. And it's this journey, this tumult of going from gilu, birada, of confidence, of joy, of mourning, of crying, of tears, of laughter. I think we're going through it all. We're experiencing all of it right now very much on a national level. And many are experiencing it on a personal level as well. I think many of you might have seen in the past week, there was an interview with Rav Doron Perez, the CEO of World Mizrahi, who spoke in our shul just before Rosh Hashanah. It was an unbelievably moving interview. Rav Perez has a son, Yonatan, who was in the army, who was fighting in the south 2 weeks ago. He was injured, I believe, in his leg. Miraculously, he survived without any serious damage. The doctors couldn't believe it. And he got married. He got married last week. Rav Perez has another son, Daniel, who since Simchat Torah has been missing. He was also fighting. He was there in a tank, and the team in his tank, one of the members of the tank crew was killed. They found his body. But the other three, including Daniel, are currently near Darim. They're missing. Nobody knows where they are. They've quite likely possibly been taken captive. And in that reality, in that Metziut, Daniel's brother, Rav Perez's other son, got married. And Rav Doron Perez was on the radio. He was talking about it. One of the things that he said, and he quoted from Sefer Kohelet. Sefer Kohelet, the beginning of the third parak, tells us, "L'chol zman ve'et l'chol chefetz tachat hashamayim." There's a time for everything, different things. Eit laledet, eit lamut, eit latat, eit lakor natua. Very famous, eit livkot ve'et lischok. There's a time to cry, and there's a time to laugh. And Rav Perez said, he'd always understood, and we've always understood it, that these are different times, that in life there are different emotions and different times that are appropriate for different things. He said, standing under the chuppah, he suddenly understood something else. He understood that sometimes those times are one and the same. That it is an eit livkot and an eit lischok at one at the same moment. Yeah, there is so much right now. There is so much to cry about. And at the same time, there is what to laugh about and there is what to be joyous about. And again, we've spoken about this so many times, and I'll keep talking about it, but we're in a period where there is light and there is darkness, and we see the light and the darkness coming together at the same time. So much darkness, so much horror, so much brutality, and yet so much light. The stories that are coming out day by day, superhuman stories, impossible to believe, of the bravery, of the self-sacrifice, of the heroism of so many people. And this is what it is to be part of Am Yisrael. This is what it is to be a Jew, is to live an eit livkot and an eit lischok, to live through light and to live through darkness at one and the same time. It's not easy, it's a challenge, but that is what we are going through. Just share one more idea with this before I open it up to the floor, if anybody has anything that they want to say. But talking about light and darkness, there's the pasuk in Sefer Yeshayahu. The Navi tells us, one of the metaphors that he uses for the Geulah, for the ultimate and final redemption, he says, "Az yibaka k'shachar olecha." Then your light will burst through like the dawn. What is the comparison? What does it say? "Az yibaka k'shachar olecha," that the light comes through like the dawn, because the dawn, when daybreak, when it becomes light, we know preceding that, before the light comes out, is when it gets darkest. And just as when it seems that it is the darkest it can be no darker, that is when the light comes out. That is when the light emerges. And we know that the light will emerge. There is another pasuk in the Navi Hosea. He says, "V'neidav v'nirdafa ladat et Hashem k'shachar nachon motzao." K'shachar nachon motzao. He says the appearance of Hashem in the future will be, everybody will know Hashem in the world. K'shachar nachon motzao. It is as sure, it is as certain to come as the shachar, as the daybreak. Just as when one is there, when one is in the midst of the darkness, yet one knows the night will end. One knows that the day will come. So too we know that is the way it will be. That is the pattern of history of Am Yisrael. We go through times of light. We go through times of darkness. We are in a time of such darkness. But that for us is a promise. That is a certainty that when this darkness ends, and it will end, again, we don't know how long it will be. We don't know what will be involved, but we know it will end. And at the end of that will come light. And perhaps the darker that it is, the lighter that ultimate light will be that comes at the end. The Tanaim said this, the somewhat famous Yerushalmi, about Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Shem ben Chalafta, says they were walking and they saw the daybreak, and as they saw the Shachar coming out, they said, "Kachi geulatan shel Yisrael." So too, just as the light breaks from the darkness, the light emerges from the darkest time, so too will be the redemption of Am Yisrael. But kima kima kumashi olechet yirava v'olechet. It comes out a little bit of light begins to burst forth, and then it becomes more and more, becomes greater and greater. And if we think about this, the way this kima, what it means, it's not just that it happens slowly. It's not that we're on a linear trajectory. It's not, if we imagine the line taking us towards where we need to go, it's going up a little bit by little. That's not what the Gemara is saying. That's not what the Yerushalmi means to say. It means to say, kima, we're always going we're going closer to that destination, but we go like this. We go up and we go down. Sometimes we go up and sometimes we go down. The moment it feels like we're very much down, but we're closer to where we need to be. So that is that there is that light that is emerging from the darkness. And I think that is something we can think about, we can take strength from. Again, that idea of of what Hanan Ben Ari sang about in his song, even betocha geinom. This is Gan Eden. Gan Eden is waiting for us. It's an eit livkot, and it's an eit lischok, and it's one at the same time. And we're all here for each other. We're all here to get through it together. We will get through it. Am Yisrael Chai. So those are some words from me. That's just some things that I've been reflecting on and thinking about for the last few days. At this point, if anybody has anything they'd like to share, please feel free to unmute yourself and your thoughts, reflections, feelings. Otherwise, we'll close it here. Okay, so good to see everybody. And again, if anybody wants to join the Tehillim group, please be in touch. If anybody wants to be in touch at any point, not on these calls, you will have my number and you have my email. You know where to find me. Find me in Shul. And we'll see you all next week, Bezrat Hashem, or in Shul.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yikoch, Rabbi Kenigsberg.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeshikoach.